Sathya Sai Speaks, Volume 8, Chapter 10. The Sour and the Sweet. An officer of the insurance organization and another from the iron and steel organization spoke to you now from this platform. Their speeches provide good bases for my discourse. You insure life because you are not quite sure of it, isn't it? To assure yourselves of a comfortable life. You are persuaded to insure and pay premia. But you can derive happiness by controlling and conquering the mind and the senses. God alone can guard you against the terror of death. Iron and steel are produced in blast furnaces, where ore is melted and other components are added. The molten iron is carried in pails by cranes and poured by ladies, which though they handle heat, are themselves immune to heat. The crane holds other materials, but does not hold itself. The mind is like that. It holds, it manipulates, it handles all other things. It cannot carry itself. It cannot manipulate itself or transmute itself. The mind cannot hold the holder, that is to say, the inner motivator, God. So, in order to save yourselves from the waywardness of the mind and its minions, you have to hold on to the holder. Profess only as much as you can practice. There is iron, there is also a magnet. The magnet will draw the iron to itself. That is the destiny of both. But if the iron is covered with the rust, the grace of the magnet may not operate strong enough to draw the iron near. Greed for sensual pleasure will certainly act as rust. It acts as dust, which induces rust. The rust will ultimately burst the iron itself and change its innate nature, so it has to be tested constantly and dusted. Then, when it contacts the magnet, it too earns the magnetic quality and it gets rest from its quest. That achievement is the best for both magnet and iron. The dust of sensual greed can be prevented by keeping good company and putting into practice the axioms of good conduct that one can imbibe from it. Hypocrisy is rampant now in the spiritual field more than any other, for here the claims are tall, the promise is prodigious, but the performance is pygmean. There is the story of a lost fowl in a village. The riot farmer complained aloud. Only one stranger came into this village yesterday, and he was a Brahmin. But my cockerel has been stolen and eaten. Thus, the Brahmin's vow of vegetarianism was revealed as a hoax. Profess only as much as you can practice. Do not blabber more than you are prepared to fulfill. Be sincere and honest to your own conscience. The universe, including the house within which you dwell, namely the body, is composed of the 5 elements: earth, water, fire, wind, and ether. Elements that act upon the senses of smell, taste, color, touch, and sound. Since the elements are divine emanations, each of them has to be treated with reverence and circumspection. For example, the earth. If you scatter seeds on the soil, they may not sprout. If you plant them too deep in the soil, they may not throw up their shoots. They may give up the struggle to rise up into the light. So too, each element has to be used under some limitations, not as and how you like. Treat the elements as vesture of the Almighty. Pouring water down the throat can well become torture if the limit is crossed. So too, there is a limit to the heat you can bear or the sound you can hear with safety. You cannot breathe comfortably in a typhoon, nor can your eardrum stand the pressure of an explosion within earshot. Any use of the elements over and above legitimate bounds is a sacrilege. Bend and place the bedroll silently on the floor. If you stand erect and throw the bed with a flop on the floor, the unavoidable noise you cause is a sacrilege on the God who gave you the medium through which sound travels. Water is the emanator of the rasa principle, the taste factor. There must be a balance, equilibrium in the stomach of man of the various tastes, sweet, bitter, salt, acid, sour, acrid, hot, etc. If the balance is upset by the predominance of any one taste, health suffers a downfall. If the emanations from any one of the 5 elemental components in your body are more than tolerable, health will be damaged and sadhana, spiritual practice, will be affected adversely. Treat the elements as if they are vestures of the Almighty. He is the current that activates everything everywhere. Sharpen the intellect. Then the unity in nature will become evident. The most revered and the most popular mantra, prayer clothed in ritual formula, in the Vedas is the Gayatri. It seeks the grace of the source of all light to foster one's intelligence and for nothing more. Tenali Ramakrishna, the famous Andhra poet, humorist and philosopher, once happened to lose his way while traversing an area of thick jungle. You know that he lived in the reign of the famous Emperor Krishnadeva Raja of the Vijayanagar dynasty. About 1500 AD, he was attached to the court and was honored as a wise and quick-witted minister. Ramakrishna's encounter with goddess Kali. While Ramakrishna was wandering desperately in the jungle, he saw an old sage. Ramakrishna ran forward and fell at his feet in reverential homage. He asked the sage how he got caught in that wild forest. The sage said, "The same mysterious force that dragged you here has dragged me to this spot. The moment when I have to cast away the body I occupied so long has arrived. I shall initiate you now into the mantra which I have recited all these years as my talisman and treasure." It was the mantra of Mother Kali, and he whispered it into the ear of Ramakrishna. Ramakrishna was overjoyed at the great gift. He retired into a temple of the Mother, deep in the recesses of the jungle, and was intent on the meditation of the Mother, propitiated by the mantra. At midnight one day, the aboriginal Koyas of the forest came into the temple. They brought with them a goat which they sought to offer as sacrifice to please her and propitiate her. Ramakrishna hid behind the idol, and when the knife was about to fall on the neck of the victim, he exclaimed, "I am the mother of all living beings, including you. If you kill my child, I will curse you. I cannot bless you." Believing that it was Kali that spoke, the Koyas desisted and went away. Now Kali manifested before Ramakrishna. She asked him what he liked to receive from her. She was pleased with his sadhana. "Which do you want?" she queried, holding a plate of curd rice in one hand and a plate of milk rice in another. He wanted to know the consequences of eating either plate before deciding which plate to ask for. She explained, "The curd rice will endow you with riches and economic prosperity. The milk rice will make you a wise scholar. Now make your choice." God loves those who have self-confidence. Ramakrishna thought within himself, "It is not good to be a fool in possession of vast riches, nor will scholarship fill the stomach 3 times a day." He was a clever person, so he asked a further question. "I see 2 plates before me. Before I make a choice, tell me how each will taste." She laughed and said, "How can I describe the taste and make you understand the difference? You will have to taste them yourself," and gave him both the plates for the purpose. The clever Ramakrishna hastily put them both in his mouth and managed to swallow the curds and the milk and the entire quantity of rice from both plates. Kali was mortified and exclaimed that his impertinence called for dire punishment. Ramakrishna accepted his mistake and invited the punishment she proposed to inflict. But can the mother's punishment destroy the child, however reprehensible the conduct of the child may be? "My sentence will certainly save you. Do not tremble," said Kali. Then she pronounced the sentence thus: "You will become a Vikatakavi, that is to say, you will be a clever clown, having great influence at court, accumulating much wealth, and guiding all those who approach you with good advice." As Bhatt said, "Everyone has the right to earn grace, but those like Ramakrishna who have faith in themselves, they will earn it soon and plentifully. God loves those who have the self-confidence and the courage of conviction, those who seize every opportunity to improve their spiritual status." Prashanti Nilayam, March 11th, 1968. I do not accept from you flowers that fade, fruits that rot, coins that have no value beyond the national boundary. Give me the lotus that blooms in your Manasa Sarovar, the clear, pellucid waters of the lake of your inner consciousness. Give me the fruits of holiness and steady discipline. I am above all this worldly etiquette which enjoins you to see elders with some fruit or flowers in your hand. My world is the world of spirit. Their values are different. If you are happy with faith in God and fear of sin, that is enough service, enough kaikaryam, service to God, for me. It pleases me so. Sri Sathya Sai Baba.